Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Please abiding by AFTERBIRTH. Plus, I don't mean to sound low energy. It's just it's a long day of recording. Still rolling the sleepless. Well, it wasn't sleepless, but less sleep than I would have liked, right, Ruka? He's in here, I promise. I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to my cat. There's a semantic difference, okay? Alright, 39SJ7880. Stats are okay. Miter is very good. And Dice Shard could be helpful early. Last run, and in fact the last several runs have been very, very, very solid. Hey, 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 my cat, he's biting my thumb! Roka! Imprisoning me! Biting my thumb! Please, I almost want to use the Dice Shard and re-roll these freaking enemies. Look, this might not strike you as that impressive of a performance. I promise you to have dodged the shots we dodged while this cat was biting me on the side of my freaking thumb. Probably the best Isaac play I've ever had in my entire life. And I gotta say, we're getting back up to, you know, decent levels. Again, I have to remind you, I have to remind myself. I bring it up not because I'm getting like, oh, you lost the last episode. You know, I'm not getting harassed like that. I bring it up for me. I put, you know, a little too much pressure on myself and Isaac sometimes. All we can do after a loss is win. What trinket did we have? My boy, get off my hand, please. What can we do after we lose? All we can do is win. You know, if we've done 8 runs since our loss, and we've won 8 of them, we literally have been playing, or we've got the best results we could ask for. I would never say we got the best performance we could ever ask for, but try it. Okay, infested, still fine. What is up with this floor, dude? Oh, it's an XL. That explains it. It's like you should not be able to go to this many big rooms without seeing an item room. The only way we could is if it's an XL floor. So I think, you know, I'm at peace with our current Isaac performance. It'll still take us, you know, if things go very well, which they may not, you know, we still got way over a month before we end up being back at the level we were at before we lost, but them's the breaks. Okay, double item room. Few enemies rushing me down. You get them lined up, and it's easy pickings. It's nice, again, like, if we get a bomb, we can use it there. My weeks are kind of structured, you know? So every day I got, like, a little bit of something to do. Like, Thursdays are the easiest days to describe. I wake up a little early. Me, Dan, or me, Dan, and Mathis record stuff, depending on whether or not Mathis has a convention to go to. And, you know, then right after that I do the NLSS. Right after that I do Stardew Valley with Kate. That's tough. I don't know if we want that. Hold on. I was building a better bit, I promise. We definitely want this. Let's then do that. I will take quad shot. Let's take eyeball tears to get weird then. But like every day's got like a theme. And Sunday post subscriber stream, that's really like my time to record, you know, a lot of one game. I'm happy to do that with Isaac today. It's whatever needs it the most, you know? Sometimes it's Gungeon. I still got to play a little bit more Katana Zero today. And I got to tell you, I don't know why I'm acting like that's a negative. Well, I got to play more Katana Zero. That's like actually one of the best games of the year so far. I'm going to try. It worked, and I'm an actual brain genius. Thank you. Only 5 cents, though. So we're going to be one short of being able to go to the shop here. I tell you, Ruka, it's not as easy to play this game with a cat on your lap as you would expect. Because he's not a normal cat, you know? He doesn't just sit on my lap like curled up in a ball. I'm trying to think of how to describe. Okay, he's laying sideways with like his spine up against my stomach. And then he's got, you know, half of his body, the right half of his body, is resting on the desk, and the left half of the body is resting under the desk. You know, it's like he's forming like a hot dog with the desk where he's the bun. Is it really comfortable? Is this the most comfortable compromise? Wouldn't you be more comfortable just being in the box, getting the occasional pet? Suppose not. It's a kind of a self-evident answer, I guess. I've said it a lot this year, but I truly believe it. I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, it's a dry season for games. I don't know what to play. What am I going to play? I mean, I follow a lot of streamers. I got to tell you, I've been unfollowing a lot of people on Twitter. I don't want your stinky item. And I want it to be clear. The first thing I was going to say to finish my train of thought is like, I think it's been a great year for games. And I've gone over it so many times I don't even want to go over it anymore. But I've had like 6 different games this year that I've been like really into. MLB The Show, Mortal Kombat 11. Now I'm playing a lot of Escape from Tarkov. Obviously played a lot of Slay the Spire as well. Tetris 99 was a big one for me. You know, there's been a lot of really, really good stuff so far. But the thing I was going to say is, you know, as a prelude for this, you know, maybe back in like 2013 or 2014, I went through a period on Facebook because I was part of the generation that actually thought Facebook was cool and helped bring it to the forefront of, you know, social media before realizing what a terrible mistake we'd made. I just realized that there's no way to say this without sounding, you know, quite jerkish. I realized that a lot of the people I follow on Facebook, probably 90 to 99%, you know, we're not actually like really friends anymore. We just went to a class together once, and the stuff that they were posting, it didn't do me a service in my life to see it. It's not to say that it did me a disservice. It's not people were not actively posting, you know, garbage. That didn't really start until like 2016. But it was just like, you know, okay, someone I went to, you know, the lab that I had in my second year, the person who sat behind me went to Cabo San Lucas. Okay, you know, why am I wasting any time? It doesn't take a lot of time, but why am I wasting any time, you know, filling my day with that sort of information when it's completely irrelevant? I'm kind of reaching that point now. And well, the resolution of that situation is like I muted or unfollowed or unfriended, whatever, like probably 95% of the people that I followed on Facebook. And now Facebook is much more palatable to use. I hit that point on Twitter like a week ago, and I started to hit the unfollow button where I was just like, you know what? It's not an insult. It's not like I think you're a bad person, I'm gonna unfollow you. It's more like, you know, I was younger at one point and I thought I needed to know what everyone was saying. Now I've realized that, you know, you don't have anything important to say. It's not actually like bringing joy to my life in a Marie Kondo sense. And I'm not saying, by the way, that my Twitter account is better. Quite the opposite. I'm saying that almost all Twitter accounts are bad. If you want to unfollow me because you're like, you know, I don't just want to get stream announcements all the time, please do. Do whatever makes your life, you know, smoother and more streamlined. But yeah, I've started at that point where I'm like, all right, for the next 30 days, whoever tweets gets unfollowed. The only people spared from my unfollow wrath is like, is people who never talk at all. I mean, I follow like 1,300 people on Twitter. That's a lot, but it's also not that many when you consider I've been on the platform for a long time. And you know, back in the day, nobody knew what this business was back in the day. So you know, you network, you follow people. Oh, you're a writer. Okay, I follow you. You know, and maybe we'll have a conversation now and there. Maybe we met at a media event or something like that. Half those people don't even work in the games industry anymore because it's a vicious mob that, you know, especially if you're a writer, spits you up and chews you out. And then some of those people, they just, you know, they tweet negative stuff all the time, and I'm like, you know, I don't disagree that, you know, you should be entitled to have an opinion, but at the same time, I should also be entitled to be like, I just can't stand, like, one more hot take about, like, you know, why does milk have to come in a carton? Why can't milk just come in jugs like it did in the 50s? Life is so BS. Like, at some point, you just gotta be like, dude, you gotta enough, you know, other problems going on in your life, clearly. Like, maybe by opening up a port for your negativity to get to me is actually doing us both a disservice. So I've been, I mean, just in general, like being on social media, I think people are way more aware of it. They're way more cognizant. Because I'm trying to think of the exact specific way I want to phrase it, but way more cognizant of the potentially negative effects that it has. Like in my generation, and I don't mean like, you know, 30 years ago. I mean like 12 years ago when social media was basically just becoming, you know, a thing. People were very naive. We didn't understand what happened. You're like, yeah, I looked at Facebook for an hour. Why do I feel bad? Well, it's because you're seeing like all the highlights from everybody else's life, and you know, you're like, I'm just sitting here in my underwear eating Honey Nut Cheerios. Jennifer right now is out in Cancun. You know, it makes you feel bad, even though you should be feeling good. You should be like, my friends in Cancun. Instead, you're like, my friends in Cancun. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. My college roommate leased a Mercedes. What am I doing with my life? You know, it's kind of like, it's toxic. Nowadays, I think people are doing a better job. I'm assuming the generation after me is doing a better job paying attention to how that stuff affects your mental health and, you know, just your wellness in general. Like, I kind of got the same thing going on Twitter that I had going on Facebook for a while before I decided not to care. Which is like, the main thing keeping me from unfollowing... I mean, my ideal, and I'm working towards this, my ideal Twitter, like, account setup would be like, I follow everybody involved in the NLSS. Maybe a couple of them are muted, but they don't need to know that. And, you know, that's a sign of solidarity. And then I follow, like, a bunch of meme accounts that are just like, you know, here's a meme, a good-hearted, wholesome meme about things you enjoy. That's kind of my, that's my dream Twitter setup. I'll tell you, you know, it takes a long time to unfollow people. It's an issue. When you, over the course of like 6 or 7 years, you followed 1,000 people. I mean, that's only following like a person every 4 days or something like that. But then to unfollow them all, it takes a bit. You're stacking up all that time. It's like when people ask you, hey, would you rather poop, you know, all of your lifetime poop time consecutively and then never poop again, or dish it out over the course of, you know, your entire life? I'm definitely a dish it out over the course of my entire life sort of guy. Speaking of which, I started taking a probiotic. I'm a very not pseudoscience sort of guy. But I've mentioned, I don't say this to be gross. I mean, it is a little gross, but it's also, you know, I take no pride in it. I've been talking about it on the LSS. I've been eating a lot of protein. It's led to me having a higher degree of passing gas, shall we say. And because I'm a nice, sensitive, modern man, I try not to... It's not like I leave the room to fart when my wife's around, because I'm embarrassed. It's more like, if she was farting all the time and her fart smelled as foul as mine did, I would want her to leave the room, because it's gross. People, especially like the male ego's in a weird spot, you know? I'm a married man, you know, and I got a good job, I got a fulfilling life, I got a loving family, and then like when I say like, I don't really fart in my wife's face on purpose, I try to be respectful. A bunch of 16-year-old kids are like, soy boy! I'm getting like yelled at by kids who write what they need to say when they talk to a girl on the palm of their hand. I'm fine, thank you, and you know? But anyway, I didn't mean to necessarily go down that road. But basically, it's becoming an inconvenience for me. Because if I have to pass gas, break wind, beans, the musical fruit, the more you eat, the more you toot, the better you feel. So eat your beans with every meal, etc., etc. If I gotta blow on the horn of Gondor, I can't think of any more euphemisms. I try to leave the room so that, you know, it's not caustic to the woman that I love. That's really frustrating for me because sometimes I gotta do it like 4 times over the course of 10 minutes. I get up, you know, rip one in the other room, come back, lay on my side, feel a little bubbling in the stomach, go do the same thing. I'm happy to do it, but I was like, it's kind of becoming a real drain on my time. So I got these probiotics. It's called BioK. Now I've only been taking them for like 4 days, and it's a very daunting thing to purchase. Because when you purchase it, there's 3 specific or 3 SKUs. You can buy BioK 12, you can buy BioK 25, or you can buy BioK 50. What does it mean? BioK 12 has 12 billion bacteria cells per capsule. Which means, as you can do the math, you're smart people. BioK 50 has 50 billion bacteria per pill. I don't know if it's insane. You're talking to a bio major, and you know, unlike most of the questions, like, hey, are deer ungulates? You go, I don't friggin' know. People go, don't you have a degree in biology? Anyway, deer are ungulates, but that's beside the point. Hey, does this mole look weird? I don't know. You should really see like a doctor. Don't you have a degree in biology? Anyway, here's what I know from my biology degree. Bacteria, they're real small. So these are not like huge pills, but they got, you know, billions of bacteria in each one of them. So I went small. I got the 12 billion bacteria per capsule. I gotta say, gastrointestinally, I'm feeling good. It's only been 4 days. It's only been 4 days. I'm not saying it'll change your life, but I will say, perhaps it's anecdotal, but it's been helpful for me in that department. If you're suffering from the same issue, check back in 30 days. Feel free to tweet me, hey, NL, how are the probiotics working out for you? I had always been under the assumption that they were like a pseudo-scientific principle, but I think I'm incorrect. But then again, when you search the website, or you search the product, I was looking for reviews before I bought it, because, you know, they're not, the low-end ones, they're not, like, super expensive, but they're not incredibly cheap either. It's, you know, it's like $15 for a month's supply or something like that. They come in drink form as well, which is, I mean, I eat cheese now and then, but the concept of, like, drink, I know bacteria is not necessarily a bad thing, but just like, hey, this drink has 12 billion bacteria in it. I'm pretty sure when I drank it, I would be like, dude, I'm impressed with how good that throwing up sound was. Gross. Anyway, I also bought Norwegian cod liver oil. I don't know, have you ever taken fish oil in your life? It's a very popular supplement, particularly for men. It lowers your blood pressure to some degree. But fish oil pills are like, each one is probably like, I'd say it's 2 centimeters, maybe a little bit more than 2 centimeters in length. Like, they're large. And, you know, if you want to get like a, whoops, that was unlikely. If you want to get a decent dose of your omega-3, 6s, and 9s, you know, you got to take quite a few of them. It gives you weird fishy burps, so I just bought like just a bottle of the oil of a fish, but I haven't had the intestinal fortitude to dip into it yet. I know what, pretty soon I'm gonna have to pull a teaspoon out, try it out. That's my anecdote. Ace of Hearts, get out of here. I don't want to. Where are we at? Depths 1? It's another slow-ish run, but definitely not bad. Emperor. I knew it. Guaranteed. Well, we actually, now that I think about it, I'm playing this floor. You can't pick up on it, I'm sure, because it's in my head. But I'm playing this floor as if it's the final floor before the womb. But obviously that isn't the case. Anyway, I don't mean to belabor the point, but if we can't talk openly without being deliberately gross, you know, about flatulence or body hair or you know, etc., etc. What have we become as a society? You know, there are things that everybody has to go through. I'd rather be, you know, speaking frankly about them. I do agree is gross. People sometimes go like, well, why do you talk about gross things, but you find it gross if somebody, like, burps into the microphone? Well, it's like, if somebody farted into the microphone, I would also be like, that's a little gross. I might also be like, that's hilarious. But only one time. If they did it more than once, I would be like, that's disgusting. It was hilarious the first time. And maybe the second and third times in decreasing degrees. But 20 times, that's where I draw the line. So I was hydrating there. But you know, if you're just speaking frankly about it, you don't take pleasure in it. You're not like bringing it up to be gross. Like, oh, I dropped a nuclear bomb in the bathroom yesterday, dude. It left 2 speed lines on my colon on the way out. Like, that's gross. I think that's the difference, you know? It's a context. Context is everything. And you know, it's like John Lennon said in I Am the Walrus, you know? Everybody's got one. Everybody's got one. And he just repeated that for like a long time. I don't know what he was talking about. I think he was talking about a PS2. Best-selling console of my generation. And his. Of all the things that are tragic about John Lennon's untimely demise, I think the most untimely, the most negative, you know, the biggest tragedy is that he was ripped from this mortal coil before he got to see the release of the PlayStation 3. Because you know what came out with the PlayStation 3 launch title? That's right, it's Knack. Baby. I had to, sometimes, every once in a while, it's written into the YouTube Charter of Human Rights and the Constitution. You gotta reference a joke from another YouTuber. And then people go, NL watches blank? And the answer is always, no. I hate watching videos on this platform. It feels like being at the office. It's very strange. But I'm familiar with them. Because this is a medium where people spam memes everywhere on the internet. And then when you repeat the meme, people go, how did he know about that? Because I can read. It's just that easy. Alright, give me the dang old jumper cables, dude. I don't know. Maybe we should be rolling, crystal ball over straw, but I'm not inclined to be saying no to any consumables or AoE damage right now. Still pretty weak from a damage standpoint. We can't really like look at it and be like, 18 rate of fire, 5 damage. Because we do have quad shot. And eyeball tears are, you know, they weirdly affect DPS as well. But we can look at this and go, you know, 5.27 damage is pretty bad. There's room to grow there. So I'm not going to chance too much on this room right here. If you guys are cool with it, we'll just hit the space bar. And maybe now we'll wake you up. Set up a little roadblock for you, a little impasse, if you will. I don't know. Well, that was obviously dumb, but I actually think this run is a little worse than it looks. Like, I think you might look at this and be like, because of the straw, it's pretty solid. But straw really, like, it scales with our damage. To the extent that right now I feel like it's not bad, but it's not doing as much as I would like. You know, it's really beneficial on rooms where there's a lot of enemies with relatively low HP. But, like, I mean, actually, this is one such room, more or less, because there's multiple mom structures available at any given time. But, like, for harder and harder enemies, and even rooms with a lot of enemies that are not weak, is going to be a bit of a conundrum. I have walked into that so many times. Please, God, free me. Deal with the angel. The mind means I'm happy we didn't take Crystal Ball. I don't know, why did you... Do we have Stompy? We did just pick up Stompy. Oh my God, my dodges are so bad right now. Anyway, especially, you know, I was talking about it on the stream today. Let me hydrate real quick at the end of the floor. was talking about it on stream today. But I was like asking people, not to be weird or solicit personal information, but, you know, people were talking about birthdays. And it's like the youngest people that watched the stream, and it's going to skew a little older because it's a subscriber stream, so you can only talk if you pay either Jeff Bezos or me some money every month, right? By the way, it's also the greatest content of all time, and if you're not chatting during that stream, you're dead to me. But, no. You know, the latest birth year seemed to be like, you know, 2000. People were like, I'm born in 2001, 2001. And a lot of people were like, I'm born in 1988. And I'm like, yeah, quit bragging, dude. Me too. But, you know, we're, as a demographic, you know, I think by YouTube standards, I tend to skew a little bit older. We've got viewers, probably my average viewer is around their mid-20s would be my guess. That's my little temperature feel. But I've got viewers in their, you know, late teens and probably like mid-teens, maybe a few in their early teens. But a lot of viewers that are like, you think you're old, brother, I'm 50. And that's super cool to me. I want to court that audience. I mean, I don't have to change too much of my content to appeal to that demographic, I think. But, hey, that's super cool with me. Because I've been on record as saying this. I think teenagers, young adults, not cool. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. You're not that cool. All right? You're not as cool as you think you are. You're concerned about material, inconsequential stuff by and large that's, you know, irrelevant as you get older. I'm not trying to, old kids these days. Because I was like it when I was younger, too. But, you know. Always with the hip-hop dancing and the dabs and the who let the dogs out. Free me, please, from this awful room. Dude, it's alright. Gungeon prepared me for this. Thank God. Matriarch! I hate you. Wait, Hatriarch. Actually really appreciate the HP, and I'll take Holy Grail as well, mostly for the HP. Let me hydrate. It was a fast floor, but throat's getting a little dry. You know, so knowing that we got like a little bit more of an aged audience, you know, I don't mind talking about stuff related to, you know, personal health and stuff like that as I'm in my 30s. You know, when you're 20s, you're smug, and you got every reason to be smug. You know, it's not to say everybody in their 20s is healthy, obviously, but, you know, a lot of people in their 20s, basically you can get hit by like a tanker truck full of magma, and you'd be like, you wake up the next day and be like, where did I get that bruise on my sternum? Oh, the tanker truck that hit me in the chest. Yeah, okay, you know, like I'm just saying, you know, the older you get, you start to, you know, get little stuff that you never thought would happen. You start to sprout hair on your shoulders. You start to be like, maybe I should drink kombucha to, you know, have better bowel movements and stuff like that. And there's two kinds of people, really, and I always encourage you, you know, you should follow your own dreams, but, you know, there's people out there that try to hide the fact that they're aging. I'm going to call them Bret Michaelses. And you can look up Bret Michaels if you want to see. The metaphor it'll be very apparent very quickly. Basically, he's bald, like me, but he wears a do-rag to cover his wig. It's weird, but I think he's bald anyway, but he seems like one of those guys where if you called him bald, it's like, you know, doing the wrong thing to a Punch-Out boss, so he gets really angry. He'd be like, I'm not bald, look at my hair. Anyway. And the other side is just normal people. So you can either, like, you know, you can be that guy who's like, you know, 45, and you're like, what'd you do this weekend? And he's like, I ate a lot of Doritos, and he thinks that's cool. Or you can be the guy that's 45, and you're like, what'd you do this weekend? And he's like, I ate like 2 salads, because my body's falling apart, and I'd like to keep it alive as long as possible to see my kids grow up. I think that's like, the second one is way cooler. It might not seem like it right now to everybody watching this, but It is, okay? Take it from a guy who plays video games on the internet for a living. That's the cool... You can live your life however you choose, again. It's like Game of Thrones. If you're happy, I'm happy. Even if I think the show kind of sucks now. I'm happy, you know, it's bringing joy to the populace, but... You know, I want to be able to talk to my, you know, friends as we're getting older, my audience as we're getting older together, and be like, hey, has anyone ever tried glucosamine? My dad takes glucosamine. He says it really helps out his joints, but I always just assumed that it was witchcraft. And then someone will be like, I tried it, it's good. Someone will be like, I tried it, it sucks. And then we'll have a, you know, we'll do a bit on it. It'll be a whole thing. We'll do a bit just like the olden times. So we got Yera, Fool, Devil, question mark. Give me the Devil card. I shouldn't say that Bret Michaels, people get very sensitive about their hairlines. I actually don't know if Bret Michaels is bald. So I shouldn't slander him. Bret Michaels, bald. Bret Michaels, from 2008, Bret Michaels finally admits he wears a wig. This is weird. I thought I saw Bret Michaels yesterday, downtown Vancouver. I swear to God, it was like a guy in his 50s wearing a do-rag, blonde highlights, and like a cowboy hat. And he was like 5'2". Bret Michaels, height. Okay, apparently Bret Michaels is taller than me, and he's in Toledo right now. So that's my mistake. There's a lot of... Now I'm going down, like, the reality TV road. And I'm looking at all these... Because you search for Bret Michaels, you might want to know what Kate Goslin from John and Kate Plus 8 is up to. It's probably raising her 8 kids would be my guess. Dude, I'm not telling anybody... Again, I'm not telling you to live your life. I'm just giving my opinion. Can you imagine having 8 kids? I know that back in the day, you know, grandma had, you know, 12 kids. It's a different era, okay? I'm not saying it was easier to have 12 kids in the early 1900s. But I'm saying, like, if you own a family farm, you got 8 kids, at least you got something for them to freaking do. You know, in the modern millennium, you got 8 kids and, like, your dad works as an insurance salesman and their mom works, you know, she's an accountant. That's a lot of daycare costs. You're not just tossing them out into the cornfields to, you know, help out. I can't even imagine. I'm not saying I have, like, a lot of sympathy for these people because they were... I mean, they did it to themselves and they were on television, and I'm sure, you know, they find it fulfilling in their own way, even though it did destroy their marriage publicly. But, you know, like, I think... Absolute reality TV power corrupts absolutely, except in the case of one unique Daniel Giesling. However, I have a sympathy for them on like a certain level. Like, man, 8 kids, that's crazy. You must have like no time, right? I think having 8 kids is so many that even when your kids are like 40, it's a full-time job. Does anybody out there watching this have 8 children? I want to know what, like, your life is like. I mean that in the nicest way possible. Because it sounds like you need, like, a babysitter. You need some time at the spa or something. So I've come to the conclusion, by the way, I absolutely hate this run. I'm not fully convinced we're going to live through the Isaac fight. Of course, he spawned in an area completely bereft of eyeballs. The thing is, like, once we can fill the land with eyeballs, he's going to be in a much harder position to survive, but, like, to do damage to an enemy directly is very tough here. I can't even imagine. Like, sometimes I think about, and I think this is, you know, people my age that don't have kids yet are like, you know, having kids seems cool and fulfilling and all that, but, like, does seem like it's a big time investment. You're like, yeah, as a human being. The idea of having 8 children is mind-boggling to me. Again, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying they're stupid for doing it. I'm just saying 8 human beings all looking to you for guidance. That's a big ask. You gotta. The more kids you have, the more responsibility you have to be a good person. Let me give you my theory of parenting, okay? And it's not fair because it's probably a lot easier to give the attention required to 1 child than it is to 8. Let me hydrate before I go down this controversial subject. If you only have 1 child and you and your spouse screw it up a little bit, sleep easy. Because at some point, the 2 people that work together to create the child are not going to be with us anymore. In all likelihood, the child still will be. Hey, it's a 2-for-1 swap. 2 people created 1 person. That's okay. Even if they didn't turn out to win the Nobel Prize, you know, life goes on. If you have 8 kids and you're a jerk and all 8 of your kids become jerks, you and your spouse just quadrupled the amount of misery per, like, gene that you were putting out into the ecosystem. You really did planet Earth a disservice. So the more kids you have, the more, you know, I think you got a greater responsibility to keep yourself as much in line as possible. Make sure you're raising good future citizens. So that's why it doesn't really matter that my parents allowed me to grow up to be this smug, because there's only 1 of me. No big deal, it's just 1 more smug jerk on the internet. What else is new? It's a day that ends with Y. If my parents had 8 kids and we were all like, actually, Kind of Blue is a great album, but personally I prefer the early work from Charlie Bird Parker. You know, it would have been like, oh my God, what did they do? You let the vinyl player raise your kids for you. I don't know where I'm going with this. Look, it's been a bit of a spotty run just from the perspective of, like, I'm shooting incredibly weak but also cool looking eyeballs out of my face to kill enemies, and they're not really accomplishing what I want them to do. It's a metaphor for James Harden against the Golden State Warriors. I know nothing about basketball, by the way, but I mean, did you see them, my man's eye? This is looking all sorts of jacked up. I just try to, if I can throw in a different metaphor every now and then to get out of my comfort zone, that's my dream come true. So, by the way, I'm not fighting Mega Satan because I'm not an idiot who wants to die. I'm an idiot who wants to win. So we will take the slightly easier path because I'm pretty sure this is one of those runs where, you know, I'm appraising it right now, and my appraisal says if we do the harder path, we will be killed. I mean, you can see for yourself. It takes us a long time to charge up a shot, and then when the shots go off, they're not exactly, you know, crushing it. They're a little bit, you know, subpar. They look really neat. But even, like, you know, as we stand here, I kind of look at this run and I'm like, things are a little spotty. Should be using the straw more frequently. I was kind of waiting for him to summon some minions, but let's try bouncing some shots off the back wall. Maybe I thought they'd stay around. We're gonna live, but yeah, this one, not a slow run, but not a particularly good one. Actually, things got real rough on the cathedral there. I'm happy we were able to make this one work. It's another nice bit of confidence, you know? Again, we lost, but all we can do on every run from this point onwards is win. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. That was a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya. Okay, it's not turning off. See ya.